What's the most popular gaming laptop last year? Lenovo Legion or 9000P? It aroused heated discussion in various forums. It's safe to say it was the laptop of last year. As the star model, the newest 2022 or 9000P is naturally highly anticipated. It was released in June, 3 months later than Y9000P. In this video, I'll answer two questions. Number 1, what is upgraded for our 9000P? Number 2, is it worth buying at a price $149 more than the initial price? I believe you will find the answers after this video. Specs first, the CPU is Ryzen 7 6800 hours with 8 cores and 16 threads, Zen 3 Plus architecture, and 6nm process. Its DJU is RTX 3070 Ti up to 150 watts, a 16 inches 100 Hz gaming screen with 2560 by 1600 and 165 Hz refresh rate. The initial price is $1,568, $75 lower than Y9000P, but $149.4 higher than 2021. Both Y9000P and our 9000P are not good value for money. The exterior of our 9000P is basically unchanged. For example, the lid and the bottom case are metallic. There is a big Y-shaped light which looks like an inverted Mercedes-Benz. The screen is 16 by 10 with thin bezels, especially the bottom bezel. The board is from SOT, different from Y9000P 2022 we've tested. Probably they employ a mix of both. It performs well. Color is 1006 Hz in volume and covers 98.8 Hz with color correction document. After applying the Hz preset in X-Rite Color Assistant, E averages 1.19 with the max 2.23. The default brightness is 5.1 for nit at max and decreases to 480 nit when switched to Hz. The screen applies DC dimming. The default black to white response time is 8.4 ms and gray to gray 12.6 ms with OD on. The foamer decreases to 7.8 ms and the latter to 6.6 ms. Overshoot and slight ghosting exist. OD switches in your favor. In general, the 16 by 10 screen performs well, with high resolution, high refresh. Color and brightness are also good. It's a nice screen for a gaming laptop. Then let's look at the base panel. The keyboard adopts a classic layout. Full height arrow keys and a numpad are available. The whole laptop weighs 2.48 kilograms with a height of 21 to 25.8 mm, a regular size for a hefty gaming book. The adapter is a 300W brick. You can even exercise with it when you're tired of playing. Taking a look at the IRO, basically the same as Y9000P with 3 USB, as in 3 USB-Cs, but the Thunderbolt 4 is replaced by USB-C. The 2 USB-Cs have different video output, one on IGPU and the other on DJU. Anyway, the ports are enough at most times. The laptop uses Ryzen 7 6800 hours chip compared with our 7580H. There are 3 improvements. First, the process is upgraded from TSMC 7nm to 6nm. Second, the architecture changed from Zen 3 to Zen 3 Plus. Third, the frequency is increased by 0.3 GHz. The memory is upgraded to DDR5, and the formerly absent PC 4.0 is available now. It's known that AMD improves IGPU the most. The outdated GCN is abandoned and our DNOT2 applied. The clock speed increased as well. To put it simply, the new 6000 lineup of Ryzen made great changes except CPU. Now let's see the benchmarks. First, the CPU for single core in Cinebench or 20 single thread, it got 594, about 6% higher than our 5800 hours. Single core performance is not the focus of promotion. For multi-core, the score is stable, basically fluctuating around 5480, over 400 points higher, as they are all P-cores without the help of E-cores. The multi-core benchmarks were weaker than i7. The CPU consumption maintains 90W and clock speed 4.15 GHz throughout the test due to the 58 TDC limitation. 75W is the top for our 5800 hours. Our 6800 hours relaxed the limit to 80A, so the power is higher. In general, our 9000P does make a progress in CPU. Aside from regular core upgrade, the power level is elevated, but the focus of improvement is not on CPU, so there is no big progress over 9000P. After CPU, let's see IGPU. Although it's not used often in gaming laptops, it can be a reference to Ultrabooks. In the test, TimeSpy scores 2190, VZ 3060, Superposition 1399, nearly doubled compared to last year. It's great progress, even stronger than MX for 5.0 IGPU, even than Intel ZDJU. Besides rasterization, the IGPU also supports ray tracing. Unbelievable. In test, Port Royal reached 843 points. Cause IGPU won't collapse, so the score is higher than the entry-level 2050. But 843 is also an ordinary result. No one really plays ray tracing games with IGPU, right? In a word, the IGPU improves greatly compared with the last gen. Of course, for our 9000P, a gaming book, IGPU is not frequently used, so let's save details for future Ultrabook evaluation. Now let's see the DJU. It is RTX 3070 Ti up to 150 watts, including 25 watt dynamic boost. It also supports automatic overclock in BIOS, which is on in default. The performance is equivalent to 92% of 175 watt 3080 Ti, 10% higher than the 140 watt 3070 last year, and even 40% higher than the 140 watt 3060. So 70 series GPUs all improved compared to 3060, like what had happened last year, while they don't differ much with 3080 Ti, a flagship GPU. But compared with the last gen of 3070, 10% improvement is not significant. The same level of CPU. If automatic overclock is off in pursuit of stability, performance will further decrease slightly by 3%, resulting in even smaller improvement. Now looking at the game test, games were tested on the basis of MUX. Since the screen is 16 by 10, GPU takes more pressure than a 16 by 9 2000 screen. For online games, under the native resolution, Dota with full HD, 129, CGO in the lowest settings, 446, Apex Legends, 195, the frame rate is okay for a smooth experience, but FPS of Dota 2 is still lower than that of Y9000P. It's because online games put less pressure on GPU. They more reflects bottlenecks of CPU, as AMD is weaker than Intel in this aspect. If resolution is decreased to 1080p, FPS of Apex will improve significantly. Other two games don't have great changes. Native resolution is enough for them. Then for standalone games, which focus on GPU, 3070 Ti is powerful after all. Tomb Raider, 96 FPS, Metro Exodus, 67, Forza Horizon 5, and Warhammer 3, 74. Cyberpunk 2077 is an exception. Its optimization is so poor that even 3070 Ti with full settings can't handle it. If resolution is to be lowered, FPS will be higher. FPS of Tomb Raider is even higher than Dota. I think 2,500 is enough for most games. Now, we move on to the content creation test. PS scores 858, AE 795, and PR 728, pretty much the same as online games. Adobe softwares also require more of CPU, so our 9000P is slightly behind Y9000P. But the scores of our 9000P is not low indeed. It's okay to do regular editing work with it. Finally, the SpecView 2020. Facing such GPU-intensive softwares, our 9000P has a great advantage with 3070 Ti, scoring higher in most projects than Y9000P 3060. To sum up, performance of our 9000P 2022 is strong with enough CPU and GPU power consumption. An example for other laptops, it's suitable for big games or content creation, but CPU and GPU only improved a little this year, so the improvement of our 9000P is average in test. It's only a regular upgrade. It's not hard to disassemble it. Remove all screws on the bottom to uncover the back plate. The interior is nearly the same as Y9000P 2022 despite some minor changes. Battery has a capacity of 80 Wh. When not charged, it will automatically switches to IGPU mode and disable DJU completely. Battery life of PC Mark 10 Modern Office is 7 hours and 47 minutes, but in traditional settings of hybrid mode, it shortens to 2 hours 19 minutes. This is obviously abnormal. The reason is the same as Y900X we've tested. When Legion zones on, it automatically pulls out Diju, which can't sleep, resulting a rise in power consumption. The bug will be fixed later. I recommend you use IGPU mode when there is no power supply. The stock SSD is on the right, 512GB Samsung PM901. The new gen supports PC 4.0. Benchmark is shown in the picture. It's an excellent performance. On the left is a reserved M2 slot with a thermal pad to be assembled or disassembled. Wi-Fi card is MTK's Mount 7922, supporting Wi-Fi 6E. Memory is a dual channel of 2-micron DDR5 4800 MHz. Benchmark is shown below. AMD reads or writes slower than Intel, but the latency is lower, kinda like trading blows. Thermals are the same as Y900OP 2022, 5 heat pipes and 2 fans. 1 heat pipe hides to cool power supply and RAM. The layout of heat pipes changed slightly from the last gen. Then let's test its thermals. With 25 degrees around and beast mode on, in stress FPU, CPU ran at 85 degrees, 86 watts and around 4.75 GHz. In stress GPU, it ran at 150 watts, 86.6 degrees and 1530 MHz. Finally, in dual stress test, CPU 89.1 degrees, 45 watts and 3.375 GHz. GPU 84.3 degrees, 140 watts and 1500 MHz. Exteriorly, the heat centered on the right keyboard. The hottest keycap reached 43.7 degrees, 37.8 degrees for WASD, 39.4 degrees for space, and 29 degrees for palm rest, when ambient noise is 33.8 dB. The full loaded noise level is 51.8 dB acceptable. In a word, thermals of our 900OP 2022 are excellent as always. This year, core consumption generally increased and thermals face more pressure, but our 900OP passed the test eventually. Besides, exterior temperature decreased a little. The performance is steadily progressing. Plausible. After the review, I will list 3 pros and cons for your reference. Pros. Firstly, good thermals and aggressive performance. Our 900OP 2021 already has strong thermals, and 2022 version makes it greater. The core power level increased while exterior temperatures decreased. Thermals are in the top class among mid-range or high-end gaming laptops. Secondly, good display, although specs didn't change much, but in the entire gaming laptop market, only a few have high resolution, high refresh and 16 by 10 in 1, and it has built-in color correction document and high brightness. It is an excellent all-around screen. Thirdly, USB-C supports 135 watt charging. PD charge of most gaming laptops is still 100 watt, but this one supports 135 watt with proprietary protocol and is compatible with 100WPD. One step ahead in the field of portable fast charge. After pros, we should talk about its cons. Firstly, late release and short supply. Our 900OP 2021 was released last March, attracting so much attention with no rivals. But the 12th gen core gaming laptop was released ahead of it. When our 900OP was released, there were already many competitors due to its increased price and short supply. It's difficult for consumers to get one. Secondly, heavy laptop and adapter. Laptop and the adapter weigh over 3.5 kilograms. It's heavy even for a gaming laptop, and the brick-like adapter is too big, not portable. Thirdly, RTX 3070 Ti can't sleep and has a short battery life in default. In the hybrid mode, NVIDIA RTX 3070 Ti can't sleep, making the battery life short. Basically, it can't live without power supply. It has been verified that it's a bug in Legion Zone. Although it offers IGPU mode that disables in-card to prolong the battery life, Diju can't work. I hope updates of Legion Zone can solve this problem. What's your opinion of this laptop? In my eyes, this laptop has excellent basic specs. Both performance and screen reach the standard level. Small changes include lower exterior temperature, an additional USB-C, and 135 watt USB-C charging. It's upgraded a lot, but these tests left me an impression that it's not as surprising as it was last year. I can give our 900OP 2021 an A, but only a for this year. One reason is that our 900OP was released later this year, letting Y900OP steal the limelight. and the other is little progress of CPU and GPU. Compared with 2021, it's $149.4 more expensive, but with minor improvement in performance, not cost-effective. Besides, it's a sample with small problems in battery life. It's good in general, but not perfect. As for my suggestion for purchasing, I'll recommend it to customers with a high budget who like playing standalones and have little requirement for portability. For standalones experience, AMD R7 6800 hours is only slightly different from the 12th core. Objectively speaking, the price of the newest R900P is higher than I expect. The last gen suits average customers with limited budget, as it has similar performance with that of the newest but is more favorable in price. Okay, that's all for today's video. If you like our videos, please hit like and subscribe to our channel. If you want to interact with me every day, please follow us on WeChat official account. I will talk about a laptop there every day. This laptop may be worth it or not, but all we want is to provide info and guidance. This is BIBA Laptops. I'm Julian. See you next time.